الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره، نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Tonight, inshallah, we start the next section of the book of the Kitab of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and that is والحقيقة حقيقة الدين دين رب العالمين هي ما اتفق عليها الأنبياء والمرسلون، وإن كان لكل منهم شرعة ومنهاجا، فالشرعة هي الشريعة. قال الله تعالى: لكل جعلنا منكم شرعة ومنهاجا. وقال تعالى: ثم جعلناك على شريعة من الأمر فاتبعها ولا تتبع أهواء الذين لا يعلمون إنهم لن يغنوا عنك من الله شيئا وإن الظالمين بعضهم أولياء بعض الله ولي المتقين. والمنهاج هو الطريق. قال تعالى: وأن لو استقاموا على الطريقة لأسقيناهم ماء غدقا لنفتنهم فيه ومن يعرض عن ذكر ربه يسلكه عذابا صعدا. الشرعة بمنزلة الشريعة للنهر، والمنهاج هو الطريق الذي يسلك فيه. So he's saying rahimahullah in this section, and the reality of the deen, the reality of the deen is that it has to be the deen of Rabbil Alameen. The reality of the deen and the true deen has to be the deen of Rabbil Alameen. And that is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts. That is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed. That is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen and has accepted for mankind. That is the reality of the deen. So the deen is not something for people to invent, and the deen is not something for people to create, and the deen is not something for people to think that they can come up with something to challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reality is that the deen is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is what has been agreed upon by all the prophets and the messengers before. ذَلِكَ مَا اتَّفَقَ عَلَيْهِ الْأَنْبِيَاءُ وَالْمُرْسَلُونَ. This is what they came to invite the people to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to the deen of a president, not the deen of a king, not the deen of animals, not the deen of anyone, the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he said, وَإِنْ كَانَ لِكُلٍّ مِّنْهُمْ شِرْعًا. Even though it's the deen is one. What he's saying here, the deen is one. The deen of all these prophets is one. And he will later explain to you what it means, the deen and all that. But he's saying the deen is one, even if each group or each nation has its own law, its own way of life, its own sharia, its own laws and regulations, its own restrictions. That does not negate the fact that they all had the same deen when it comes to the aqidah and when it comes to the belief. Okay, so they all had the same deen with the belief, even if each one of these nations or each prophets brought different law. But the bottom line, it boils down that they all calling for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. To each one of you, we have established shir'ah, يعني sharia. Sharia, يعني the laws of the deen, the way to live your life, the duties and the obligations and all that. Allah says, for each of you, يعني each nations, we made shir'ah wa minhaj. And minhaj al-tariq. Minhaj al-tariq, and the method of how to follow the sharia, how to implement it, the path that you need to take. So yes, every nation has its own laws to reach the goal, the ultimate goal. That is the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the acceptance from Allah. So that's why you find, for example, Christians have their own laws. When Isa came to them, and he came to abrogate some of the laws of Musa. And Musa alayhi salam came with the laws, and he came with the new laws that people did not know before. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam came with different laws. Some of them are similar to the laws of Musa and Isa. You don't kill, you don't commit zina, you don't steal, you don't lie, all these things. And they are new laws that the Prophet ﷺ came with to all mankind. But the bottom line is Musa, Isa, and Muhammad ﷺ and all the prophets from before came with one deen, and that is La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. That's why when you become Muslim, La ilaha illallah is not enough. You cannot just say La ilaha illallah, I'm Muslim. طيب, how are you gonna be able to fulfill La ilaha illallah? Because La ilaha illallah is not only a word that is said in the mouth and automatically you have straight ticket to paradise. How many people say La ilaha illallah and they are from the people of the hellfire? Wal-iyadu billah. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And Muhammad Rasulullah, يعني I only believe that no one is worthy of worship but Allah. And I'm gonna worship him the way of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Very important to understand this. So all the prophets came with the first part, La ilaha illallah. And all the prophets were taking the oath on them. Allah took the oath from them that if you are alive when Muhammad ﷺ come and they send him, you believe in him. You follow him. You follow him. But he ﷺ came with all the prophets were dead. But the obligation of them was to follow. And Isa alayhi salam will come to follow the deen of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he will pray behind one of the people of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, honoring the ummah of Muhammad. And all the prophets and the messengers prayed behind our messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam in the night of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj in Masjid Al-Aqsa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to return Masjid Al-Aqsa like Knaf al-Muslimin. But they all prayed behind Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So they all prayed with the salah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because they are obligated to follow his deen. That's the bottom line. But when they came to their people, they came with different laws. Okay? So it's very important to understand. وَلِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شَرْعًا وَمِنْهَاجًا. Each group of you has its own sharia and its own minhaj, its own laws and its own way of following these laws. Manhaj يعني الطريق. But when it comes to the belief and the fundamentals and the aqidah is one. La ilaha illallah. وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ. They were only commanded to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is what we need to emphasize on. And this is what we need to establish in the hearts of the Muslims. Because the Muslims are lost when it comes to this important point. They lost the sense of understanding why they are created. You find the Muslims always talking about what you can do and what you can do. What you can do and what you can do. You can't do this, you should not do this. You can do that. That is the law. But if you did not establish in the heart of the people why they need to fulfill and follow this law, they will not follow. Very important. If you did not establish in the hearts of the people that if you do not establish in the hearts of the people the exaltation and the greatness of the one who sent those orders, they're not going to follow. And if we give example at our level, if the order comes to you from your boss, or the order comes to you from someone who works under you, two different ways you're going to accept the orders. If I'm a boss in a company and the order comes to me from my employee, that is not an order. That is what?
Request or suggestion.
That is begging. He's begging. He's asking, can we? But when it comes from higher level, it's a command. It's not can we. Do. Because always the contact and the relationship when it comes to orders between people are three levels. Either from higher to lower, from lower to higher, or at the same level. From higher to lower is command. When from your boss to you, command. I'm just giving an example. You can apply the same rule when it comes to our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From higher to bottom, command, order. From bottom to higher, dua. You're asking. That's why when we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what form of verb we use? We don't use present tense, we don't use past tense, we use that command, the order. Oh Allah, give me. But that doesn't mean that you're ordering Allah to give you. Even though you can use the same form with someone else. Give me. And that's what you say with the dua. أعطني. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة. آتنا, give us. But this does not mean ordering, even though it's the same form of verb you would use when you order your child. Give me. You say the same verb with Allah. Give me. But that is dua. It's not a command anymore. You're not ordering Allah. You're begging from Allah. You're hoping from Allah. Okay? And when it comes at the same level, when people tell each other, that's out of relationship and hope. We are at the same level. Can you do this? Request, yeah. In other words. But that is the way it goes. So if we do not establish the greatness of the one who's giving the order in the heart of the people, they will just pass on his orders as if nothing happened. And that is what's happening to the Muslims. We have become people who fear. In this country, you find a lot of Muslims in the world, when they talk about the West, they talk about what? About the regulations and the orders and how organized they are. Yes, they are, because of the law. They don't do that because they're afraid of Allah. They do it because they're afraid of the law. If the law allows it, they'll do it. If the law doesn't allow it, they don't do it. And most people. For us Muslims, the law comes from Allah. So those people are so threatened by the government who established these laws and who sets these laws and who enforce these laws. Our laws comes from someone from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's greater than all these governments and the whole world. So as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's status in our heart is not the way it should be, it's very difficult to be able to fulfill His orders. That is very important. So that's why we need to establish La ilaha illallah. Once you have that, then everything after that becomes so easy. And that's what happened with the Prophet ﷺ, the way he taught the Sahaba and the way he established them. Wasn't from the beginning do and don't do, do's and don'ts. Was establishing the love of Allah. Who is Allah? What Allah should be in your life. These are the things we are calling, and that is established through understanding the meaning of Tawheed. The meaning of Tawheed. فالشرعة بمنزلة الشريعة للنهر والمنهاج هو الطريق الذي يسلك فيه. So, as I have said already, the Sharia and the Minhaj is the way to live. The way to live the deen. The regulations, the orders, the actions. This is when we say Sharia and Minhaj. Each ummah had its own. قال والغاية المقصودة هي حقيقة الدين وهي عبادة الله وحده لا شريك له وهي حقيقة دين الإسلام وهي أن يستسلم العبد لله رب العالمين لا يستسلم لغيره فمن استسلم لغيره كان مشركا والله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ومن لم يستسلم لله بل استكبر عن عبادته كان ممن قال الله فيهم إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادتي سيدخلون جهنم داخرين ودين الإسلام هو دين الأولين والآخرين من النبيين والمرسلين وقوله تعالى ومن يبتغ غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه عام في كل زمان ومكان. Then he said, however, even if each ummah had its own ways and its own laws and its own sharia and its own minhaj, yet the goal of each sharia and each minhaj is one, and that is to reach the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is the reality of the deen. That is the main purpose behind the deen, is to gain the satisfaction or the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, what is this reality? Is the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. The reality of the deen is to worship, the bottom line, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. But what does that mean? وَهِيَ حَقِيقَةُ دِينِ الْإِسْلَامِ. He's saying, and that is the main point of the religion of Islam. To worship Allah alone. That is the bottom line. Then he said, like, what does it mean? Islam هو أن يستسلم العبد لله رب العالمين لا يستسلم. To submit completely to Allah. You all know these things. To submit completely to Allah. You do not submit to anyone else. You do not submit completely to anyone else. If that happens, you're oppressed. When you submit completely to someone with everything he orders and everything, you are oppressed. But when you submit to your Creator with everything He wants, that is the level that is intended for you to reach with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need to submit completely to Allah. You submit to other than Allah, you're mushrik. That is the meaning of shirk. Is to submit to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, and that is what will not be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ومن لم يستسلم لله بل استكبر عن عبادته كان ممن قال الله فيهم إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادته سيدخلون جهنم داخرين. And those who do not submit to Allah and feel arrogant to worship Allah. And be aware of this statement. Feel arrogant to worship Allah. Now if we go to the meaning of worship, we realize it's not only Salah and Siyam. Because one of the traps we got into, and I think it's exported from other religions, or imported from other religions, is that ibadah is in the masjid. That's right. For any one of us, when we say ibadah, right away, comes to your mind. Salah, Siyam, Sadaqah, Zakah, Hajj. We stuck with that mentality. So if this is the reality, if that's how we think, then we are separating everything else from the reality of al-ibadah. Yeah, I'm doing salah. I do siyam. I do zakah. I went for hajj. Khalas. I'm a good Muslim. I'm submitting to Allah. But that is very important. It's a wrong understanding. Because ibadah is not only limited to these things. So what is the simplest definition of ibadah? Is everything that pleases Allah is ibadah. Everything that pleases Allah is ibadah. So obviously you can please Allah with more than just the salah, the siyam, the zakah, and the hajj. So once you start understanding this way, you realize that everything in your life that has potential, if you would do it, you will please Allah, ibadah. So when you go against it or opposite of it, you are rejecting to worship Allah. You are being arrogant. Because what does it mean to reject, to obey someone's orders? You think you're better than these orders. And you know who you're dealing with? To think you're better? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't dare to feel you're better than your boss, who maybe just hired you yesterday. Imagine you go in a company, you just got hired, and you're just an employee, and you go, and the first day of work, you ask, where is the manager's office? Oh, here's his office. I want to sit in it. I want to sit in his chair. They look at you and kick you out. Because you're arrogant. I'm not going to sit in my chair. I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do. I think I can do what the manager is doing. They look at you crazy. So why we don't dare to do that at our level, but we dare to do it with Allah? Because we do not understand and we do not feel the status of Allah. This is the main key. We do not understand what is the status of Allah. Actually, I won't exaggerate if I say we don't know We don't know. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِ. And they have not given Allah His right status. When the Jews said Allah is poor, because He's asking for zakat. He's asking people to give each other zakat. The rich gives the poor. They said Allah poor. Ta'ala Allah. Poor? Allah, who gave the rich? You know? For you to say Allah poor. Because they didn't want to give. They say, why Allah is asking us to give? Why He doesn't give them? Get the mentality. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِ. Obviously, those people did not understand the status, did not know the status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So submission is to do everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with. To do everything that Allah commanded you. Once you say, I'm not going to do it, you are feeling arrogant. You're feeling arrogant. Allah says, do it this way, you do it this way. Allah says, don't do this, you don't do it. Because who's the one ordering? The one who created you. And the one who you owe him everything in your life. He deserves it. That's why Islam wants to submit completely to Allah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu udkhulu fi silmi kaf. Oh, you who believe, enter into the religion of Islam complete. But once we start following the hawa and the desires, of course we're gonna deviate. And we're gonna go crooked. And we're gonna go astray. You know, I know this is the way Allah wants, but I don't like it. A'udhu billah. Why you don't like it? Just it doesn't fit my lifestyle. Don't you think that might take a person out of Islam? Might. You don't like what Allah chose for you? Yeah, and you're not trusting what Allah chose for you. Will not that lead that you're not believing that Allah wants that for you? Yeah, wait. You come and you tell the brother or the sister, this is what Allah wants you to do. Why don't you do it? I'm not ready. You're not ready? طيب, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not ask anyone to handle more than what they can. That's what Allah says in the Quran. لا تكلف نفس إلا ما أتاها. More and more in the Quran, the meaning of that, of the idea. When you say, I don't think I can do it. What does that mean? You're saying these ayat are not true. That's what you're saying. When Allah says, a Muslim man needs to do this. Once he becomes adult, he's obligated to pray. So you come to the brother and say, pray. You have to pray. Allah said you have to pray. He said, I don't think I can do it. So busy, so lazy, I'm this and that. Like when you say, I don't think I can do it, that means you're saying it's beyond my ability. But Allah says He's not going to ask you to do something beyond your ability. So now which one should I believe? So now what you're saying contradicting to what Allah says. So these simple statements that we make and we don't pay attention to, it can be taking a person out of Islam without him feeling. So be aware. Or the person says, I'm not ready. You're 20 years old, I'm not ready. Allah says, and the deen of Islam, once you reach the age of puberty, you're ready. That is the deen. The person, once he reaches or she reaches the age of puberty, becomes mukallaf, obligated to do the obligations of Islam. So once the girl reaches the age of puberty, and that is through some signs and her period, she becomes obligated to fast. So you come to her father, why your daughter is not fasting? She's still a baby. That is not the point. She's a baby or she's not a baby. She can be 50 and she's still a baby for her parents. The bottom line and the law of Allah is once she reaches that stage in her life, she becomes obligated to do these things. So when you tell me she's a baby and she's not ready, contradicting the word of Allah, who said she will be ready when she reaches the age of puberty. Very important. Yes, there are exceptions for rules, but in general, these are the facts. So once the child reaches the age of puberty, he becomes obligated to pray. And as long as he's still under your supervision and your control and he's in your house, you are requested to make sure that he's performing his obligations. And unfortunately, most of the time you find the parents are the ones who are not allowing these things to be fulfilled. The child learning in the masjid or in school or wherever that now once I reach the age of puberty, I have to cover. She wants to cover and the father or the mother tells her, you're still young, you're still little, you're still a baby, you don't have to do that. Or the salah, or the siyam. It's your responsibility. قُوْ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. You are supposed as a man in the house and as a woman in the house, you are responsible about these children. يعني the summer has started in school. I think it's about almost a month already. And there's another month and a half left. What did you invest in your kids? Do you know in 3 months how much they can achieve and how much they can learn? 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 10 and 12 years old, what they can, the potential they have to learn in 3 months? A lot. And I'm sure that a child who's 7 or 8 years old can learn at least 2 or 3 juz'ah in 3 months. I'm confident, easily, with some enforcement, some discipline, and 100%. Have you invested? Or 3 months vacation? What vacation, man? Life is short. You don't have, the day that passes never comes back and never returns. If you did not have the parents who were able to take advantage of your summer breaks, don't take it on your kids. They're not at fault. You're being taught and you're being informed. So take advantage of these 3 months for your kids. Maybe that's your shield from the hellfire. Very important. We have to be smart and we have to work with time. Time is very short. You look at organizations that are most successful in the world. Why they are successful? One of their keys, they know well how to organize their times. They plan right. Some of these organizations have plans for the next 10 and 20 years. You think Apple just thought of iPhone? Seriously. These plans are a long time ago they're set. They're programmed. That's what we're going to do. And you know, after a few months, we're going to throw this next product in the market, and we're going to... That's how they plan. That's why they're successful. They don't wake up one day, the managers or the GMs or whatever, you know what, let's produce a funny or weird product. Let's do something smart. No, these things are planned already. And they're producing what was planned 10 years ago, and now they're planning for the next 10 years. That's why they're very successful. They don't live day by day. With certain things, you live day by day. You don't worry. But if you want to be successful, you have to plan. You want your child to be Hafid al-Quran. You don't come to him when he's 22 years old, ready to get married. Son, let's send you to madrasa. What are you talking about? He's going to tell you. Madrasa. What does that mean? You know? So it's very important. And I don't want to mention names or specific where they come. I use expression that refers to a certain group of people. The patient comes to me and he brings his daughter who's 16, 17. I use that expression that refers to this kind of people, where they come from. So when I brought it up, she said, what does that mean? Does that mean the people who we come from? That's what she said. She was not even sure of the expression that refers to that type of people. 17 years old, she doesn't know that this word refers to her and her people, where she comes from. That is disastrous. That means completely being lost in the melting pot. Problem is the melting pot that we talk about, melting pot, and we did not put anything into it, not even spices. Melting pot, we just jump in it. We got no contribution, we got nothing in it. They already melted it and they already mixed, and now we're just being introduced. You have to be influential. Muslim is influential. You come to a melting pot to change what's wrong, not to come to participate in what's wrong and to support it and to increase their numbers. Like someone approached me, why is it wrong to go to the prom? I said, who said it's wrong? I said, well, you want to go to the prom? Go. What you gonna do there? I said, nothing, I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to do this, I'm just gonna sit and watch. I said, why you're not going to dance? You're there. You're gonna go to the prom and not dance? Doesn't make sense. It's like going to a game and not watch. You know? I said, why don't you dance? He said, because it's haram. I said, so you want to just sit? She said, yeah. I said, you just want to sit and watch haram being done in front of you and just go home and you're okay? She changed the subject. That's what's happening. Just to be around people who are committing fisq and haram, if there is one harm, is that you're increasing their numbers. What more than that? Instead of them being small group, shirdimatun qalilun, small group that no one will pay attention to, we're gonna just watch. So you come from there, he comes from there, from corner. Now they're a huge number, they're influential, they have effect, people start talking about them, their haram and fisq is being spread out. But if they're still small, no one pay attention to. Okay? So very important to understand that. But we need to instill these things in the children. We always say that the children. That's our future. You and me are old. Perhaps the train, as they said, passed us. The investment is in the children. What have we done? Where is the challenge? You know what? I want my child to be alim. What's wrong with that? Does it make money? It does. And being alim doesn't mean he cannot be any other professional. And being alim or being da'iyah to Allah, that is the greatest profession ever. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who's better in speech than the one who invites to Allah? Who has a better job than that? You know what's enough? That the one who does that is doing the same job of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But you can also work, he can also work. He doesn't have to be a lazy alim or a lazy imam or da'iyah. He can still work and has his own business and make money and be independent of the people and be a knowledgeable person. If one of us sees his child playing with the screwdriver the whole day, screwing things up, oh, this kid got to be engineer or something. Maybe he can work for Apple. If he sees this kid, Dad, give me a stethoscope. And when the doctor said, Doctor. Usually us, without him using the screwdriver or the stethoscope, doctors or engineers or lawyers, that's all we want. If his child is dummy, and you know the reality is there are children that are stupid. Yeah. Not all children are cute, not all children are smart. That's how Allah created people, to balance. Imagine everyone is so intelligent that they're going to become presidents. Who's going to change the tires? I'm serious. Everyone is rich. Who's going to do the laboring? Yeah. That's the reality. يعني كما قال أحد العلماء, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala كشف عنك حجاب الغيب لما تمنيت ما أعطى غيرك. اسمع الكلام هذا. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to remove from in front of you the barrier from knowing the unseen. You know, the unseen we don't know. We believe in it, but we don't know. We don't know why Allah gave this person and why He didn't give that one. So this one of the ulama said, if Allah was to remove that inability of you, يعني for you to be able to see the unseen, you would never wish to have what someone else has. You know how you always see rich people, or people who have money, or people who are successful, or people who can throw a ball in a hole. You say, wow, they're good. I wish if I was in his shoes. A lot of people fall into that. You wish what someone else has. If he has money, you're billionaire. You find some people, you sit with them for 3 hours, all they talk about, how much this guy has money, how much this guy made money, how he made his money, how he lost his money. That's all. You sit with other people, they talk about fame. So you say, wow, this guy is so famous, I wish if I was him. Right? So he's saying, if Allah would have shown you why He gave this, and why He gave that, and why He did not give you, you would not wish to have what they have. In other words, Allah gave them for a reason and did not give you for a reason. If Allah would have given you what He gave them, you would be completely in different ball game, and that will be more miserable to you. You understand? So when He gives someone and doesn't give you, know Allah al-Hakim, because of a reason. Wisdom. So always accept. وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Allah said, and do not wish for what Allah had preferred some of you over others. Do not wish for that thing. Because He preferred him over you with something, He has preferred you definitely with something over it. Maybe you don't see it. Maybe you don't feel it. Maybe you won't even know it in this life. It's very important. So when He sees His child slow, yeah, Sheikh. Huh? Send him to school to memorize the Quran so he can lead the people in Salah. Allah wants the best from you. We need to start, Allah, we need to start having this mentality. The ulama that are dying every day in the Muslim world, they're not being replaced. They're not being replaced. For someone to be alim, that got to start from the cradle. From the day they're born. Investment, that's investment. We need to invest in our children. That's your رأس مال, children. People, when they mention them, they say, may Allah bless their parents. There are some children, when people talk about them, they curse their parents. And some children, when people talk about them, they say, may Allah have mercy on their parents and may Allah bless them for what they had produced. Right? That's the reality. So which group you want to be with? Alright. So we have to submit to Allah the way He wants. Then He said, rahimahullah, وقوله تعالى ودين الإسلام ودين الأولين والآخرين من النبيين والمرسلين. And the religion of Islam is the religion of the first and the last, from the prophets and the messengers. That is the religion of all the prophets. The law of Musa was Judaism, and the law of Isa was Christianity. But the deen of Musa and the deen of Isa, and before them the deen of Adam, and the deen of Nuh, and the deen of Shu'aib and Idris, and all these people, and all these prophets, alayhim salam, was the deen of Islam, the aqidah of Islam. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. That's what we believe. That's why the word Islam, as I mentioned before, this is a good way to approach someone. The word of Islam, different than any other religion. The word of Islam itself is an action. An action. Islam. What does Islam mean? Doesn't talk about people. Doesn't refer to society or race or color or language or area or land or planet. It refers to actions. What's this action? Submission. So when Noah submitted to Allah, he deserved the adjective of being Muslim. He becomes Muslim because Muslim means someone who submits. But if we say Christianity is the religion of all the prophets, it doesn't make sense. Did Noah follow the laws of Christ? No. Did he follow the laws of Isa? No. Did he call for the deen? No. So Islam is a submission. Submission. all the prophets submitted their own ways because each one has its own law. But the bottom line is they submitted. And that only, if you want to call someone who submits, is Muslim. That's why all the prophets and messengers are Muslims. Okay? Not with the laws, but with the aqeedah and with the belief. That's why Islam is the religion of all. قال الله تعالى وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَا يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. قال عام في كل زمان ومكان. This ayah, and who accepts other than the Islam as a religion will not be accepted from him, is saying this is general in every time and in every place. Anytime, any place. So when we use this ayah to refer to our religion, Islam today, that is just to apply it to the only religion will be accepted today. But in general and at any time, since Allah created this earth, the religion that Allah would have accepted is Islam. In our definition, when we say Islam, we refer to our religion, our laws, Quran and Sunnah. But when we say Nuh was Muslim, we refer to the laws and Sharia of Nuh that made him submit to Allah. Then he said, فَنُوح وإبراهيم ويعقوب والأسباط وموسى وعيسى والحواريون كلهم دينهم الإسلام الذي هو عبادة الله وحده لا شريك. So he mentioned all the names of these prophets and messengers, and he said all of them, their religion was the religion of Islam. Which Islam? That to submit and to worship only Allah. So no one can argue that. When we define Islam as to submit to the will of Allah, then all the prophets were Muslim. Okay? قال الله تعالى عن نوح يا قوم إن كان كبر عليكم مقامي وتذكيري بآيات الله فعلى الله توكلت فأجمعوا أمركم إلى قوله وأمرت أن أكون من المسلمين. Nuh alayhi salam tells his people, if you're not accepting my words, if you're not convinced, then you all get together and I come by myself. You want to challenge me, you want to fight me, you're all one, and I'm coming by myself, but Allah is with me. فأجمعوا أمركم. Then at the end of the ayat, he said, وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And I was commanded to be from amongst the Muslims. That's Nuh. Muhammad was not sent yet. Nuh said, I was ordered to be from amongst the Muslims. The Muslim, not in the laws of Muhammad, but the Muslim who submits to Allah. Who submits to Allah. وقال تعالى ومن يرغب عن ملة إبراهيم إلا من سفه نفسه ولقد اصطفيناه في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين إذ قال له ربه أسلم قال أسلمت لرب العالمين. Ibrahim alayhi salam, his Lord told him, submit, be Muslim. He said, I submit to Allah, the Lord of the world. So here Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't tell you Islam is an action. I submit. Okay? ووصى بها يعقوب وصى بها إبراهيم بنيه ويعقوب يا بني إن الله اصطفى لكم الدين فلا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. And Ibrahim, Allah told him, be Muslim. He said, I'm Muslim. And Ibrahim told his son, and his son told his sons, that you only die on Islam. As Muslims, as someone who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقال تعالى وقال موسى يا قوم إن كنتم آمنتم بالله فعليه توكلوا إن كنتم مسلمين. Musa told his people, if you believe in Allah, then put your trust in Him. And they start being chased by Pharaoh. Put your trust in Him if you're truly Muslims. If you're truly submitting to the will of Allah and putting your trust in Allah. Because we said, to submit to Allah, the meaning to worship Allah. And worshipping Allah, meaning everything you do to please Allah. Anything you do that pleases Allah is ibadah. Tawakkul ala Allah is ibadah or not? When you put your trust in Allah, will that please Allah? Of course. If it pleases Allah, it's ibadah. And when you commit ibadah, you are submitting. So that's why he tells them, you believe now, then you need to put your trust in Allah, if you are true Muslims. If you're submitting truly. وقال السحرة ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. The magicians of Fir'aun, they said, oh Allah, grant us some patience, and when we die, make us die on Islam, as Muslims. As Muslims. وقال يوسف توفني مسلما وألحقني بالصالحين. Yusuf alayhi salam said, "Oh Allah, take my life while I'm Muslim." Huh? That's why the dua that you should always remember is to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take your life while you're on the Islam, on the religion of Islam. Because the shaitan will try with you until the last minute. Till the last minute. وقالت بلقيس وأسلمت مع سليمان لله رب العالمين. وقال تعالى يحكم بها النبيون الذين أسلموا للذين هادوا والربانيون والأحبار. وقال الحواريون آمنا بالله واشهد بأننا مسلمون. فدين الأنبياء واحد وإن تنوعت شرائعهم كما في الصحيحين عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن معشر الأنبياء ديننا واحد. So here he's saying rahimahullah, Shaykh al-Islam, he said, so the religion of all the prophets is one, Islam. Even though their laws are different, but their deen is one. The deen of Allah is Islam, to submit to the orders of Allah. When Nuh was alive and his message was still standing, people needed to submit to Allah through the laws of Nuh. And anyway, all these prophets were sent to their own people. Nuh was sent to his people. Shu'aib was sent to his people. Salih was sent to his people. Hud was sent to his people. Musa was sent to his people. Isa was sent to his people. The only prophet or messenger that was sent to all mankind is our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when Nuh was sent to his people, was to follow the laws of Allah, to be Muslim. When Hud was sent to Ad, to follow the laws of Allah. When Salih was sent to Thamud, to follow the laws of Allah, to be Muslims. And all the prophets. When Muhammad was sent for all mankind, to follow the laws of Allah. That's the only way you're Muslim. Okay. كما في الصحيحين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن معشر الأنبياء ديننا واحد. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said in Bukhari and Muslim, we are the prophets and the messengers, our religion is one. Islam, to submit. قال تعالى شرع لكم من الدين ما وصى به نوحا والذي أوحينا إليك وما وصينا به إبراهيم وموسى وعيسى أن أقيموا الدين ولا تتفرقوا فيه كبر على المشركين ما تدعوهم إليه. وقال تعالى يا أيها الرسل كلوا من الطيبات واعملوا صالحا إني بما تعملون عليم وإن هذه أمتكم أمة واحدة وأنا ربكم فاتقون. This is your ummah, one ummah. Allah tells the messengers, this is your ummah, one ummah. Which ummah? The ummah of the Muslims. So everyone who submits to the way of Allah, Muslim. So the bottom line from tonight's talk is that prophets, messengers had their own laws, their own sharia, their own manhaj, methodology, but calling for the same main thing. La ilaha illallah. So how is this related to our topic? How is this related to the book? Furqan bayna awliya ar-Rahman wa awliya ash-Shaytan. That is to tell you that the wali has to be on this deen. Someone is wali from the awliya of Allah has to be on the deen of Islam. There is no such thing today as Christian wali. And when we say wali, they call them saints and all that. If the awliya are saints, 90% of the Haitians are saints too. In their names, always saints, saints, saints. All their names are saints. No. Saint has to be through the way of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Awliya, we want to use the term saints. This is something they made up. But awliya, wali, a friend of Allah, at the time of Nuh, from the people of Nuh, has to be following the laws of Nuh. Other than that, cannot be wali. And every prophet the same way. When it comes to our religion and in the world, since our religion is universal message, the deen of Islam, then the wali has to be someone who submits to the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether he's saying I'm Muslim or he's not. If he's not, we got no problem with that. There is no way he can be wali. Even if he's flying in the air and walking on water, there is no way he can be wali. Either he's a magician, or he's fooling you, or he's dealing with the jinn, or with the shayateen, or whatever. Such person cannot be wali. That's from those who say we're not Muslim. But those who say we're Muslims, who's the wali and who's not? Just because he's Muslim, he's wali? We say no. We say, how much he's following the Sharia and the manhaj of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? How much close is he to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? If he's following the Sunnah the way he wants, he's away from any types of shirk, then we testify for him to be perhaps the one of the awliya. But just someone growing a beard, wearing a thobe, and in his house he's having all these circles of hallucinations and darwasha and bid'ah and all that, even if he's able to close the BB or BP hole, I won't even consider him a wali. That's the reality. If he can close that hole and he's not following the sunnah, not a wali. But someone who can't unscrew a screw with a screwdriver, but he's on the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's wali. We said awliya are different levels, and it's not a condition for a person to be wali to come up with yani karamat and supernatural things. Actually, that's what drove people to believe, to start calling everyone wali. When they see something special, wali. Someone point to someone and said, "He gonna die," and the guy dies, wali. We know he gonna die. When Allah A'lam, what happened? He died. This watermelon gonna be red. We open it red. Wali. That is the reality. That is the level of how a lot of Muslims reach. Because once they went away from the way of Allah, they have to fill that gap. They have to fill the space, the emptiness they have. They start following all these muharrijin and all these clowns. What? I know a guy in the south who says that his neighbor spent some time in heaven. Wallah, yani, you're lucky. You know? But that's the reality. You start reading, and some people are, can I read this book? Can I read that? No. You find in the masajid, kitab, for example, Ihya Ulumuddin. But this book should not be in any masjid. This book should not be in any masjid and should not be read by just anyone. This is needs ulama to read. I'm not saying don't read. There are things you can read, but not this book. This book is not one of them. If you're not well equipped to distinguish between what's authentic and what's not, what's true and what's not, aqeedah, solid, understand exactly, and you want to read this book, don't read. You can't. And the ulama warned. And Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, one of the greatest thinkers and ulama of this ummah, but he, just for your information, at the end of his life, he repented from all his writing. And finally he wrote a small booklet, a small letter, just denouncing everything he said before when it comes to these issues. That's Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah. So Imam al-Ghazali, one of the ulama of Ahl Sunnah, towards the end. But a lot of his writings are not to be read by anyone. It's read by the ulama to take the good from who can distinguish. And then they bring you what's good. That's why you find a lot of Muslims reading the Bible. Right? Did you read the Quran? Do you know your aqeedah? Do you know the laws of your deen? Do you know how your deen operates? No. So why are you reading the Bible? So I can argue debate with the non-Muslims. Like maybe you read something in this Bible that's gonna يعني, mess your head up against your own religion. How you know? يعني, the Prophet ﷺ got angry with Umar when he saw him reading part of Torah. Okay, so it's very important to be aware. Everyone should know his status, and should know his skills, and should know his ability. Okay, يعني, two people are doctors. One is specialist in something, the other is specialist in something else. One of them does not dare to do what the other one does, and vice versa. And they both doctors. You find the Muslims, you ask him medicine, it's not my specialty. You ask him engineering, it's not my. You ask him computers, it's not my. Ask me about my specialty. You ask him Deen, Shaykh al-Islam, and he might not ever read one book. He did not learn from one scholar. He's Shaykh, giving fatawa, giving stories, giving ahkam, as they said, answering issues that if Umar was asked the same question, he will gather the people of Badr to consult with them on the answer. He'll give you, this. I think. How many times we hear, I think? You think? You think is not an answer. Okay? So very important to be aware. This is the deen of Allah. More precious than anything. We pay accountants, we pay lawyers, we pay doctors to take care of our business. When it comes to the deen of Allah, you're not ordered or asked to pay, yet you're lazy to consult. When it comes to business transaction, when it comes to family issues, when it comes to you're lazy to ask the imam or someone you trust his ilm, and it's free. But when it comes to your bank account and to your tax return and all that, you're gonna look. Have you ever seen someone who tells you, do you know an accountant? What they ask? Do you know a good accountant? Right? Accountants are everywhere. You know a good doctor. Do you know a good this, a good that? But when it comes to the deen, he is willing to ask anyone. Why? This deen is your success here and there. This accountant thing, maybe you think success in this time, in this dunya. But this deen, here and there. So why you're not concerned? Because we do not have the right status for Allah in our hearts. And that's what we need to build. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم صلى الله على سيدنا محمد جزاكم الله خير السلام عليكم ورحمة الله